Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a little different than usual. Today is going to be the knives of the 2024 year. Now, I do want to clarify that not all these knives came out in 2024. These are just knives that I had on the channel in 2024. So keep that in mind. Not all of them are still available, I don't believe, but this is the list. We are first going to start off with the watch that I'm wearing today is a Seiko V158-0AB0. It is a two-tone with a stainless bracelet. One of them stretchy bracelets. Nice and comfortable, fits me great. It is my late grandfather's watch, and I finally got it working again. Great condition, I love this thing. Now, let's get into the video. First, we're going to start off with an honorary mention of the $10 knife of the year. For the last 4 years, it has been the Harbor Freight knife right here from Gordon. They offered some great quality pieces right here. A 2.9-inch blade made of 8CR13 G10 scales, a 4-position pocket clip, thumb studs, a flipper tab, and ball bearings, all for $10. What a steal. Now, this year it has been replaced as the Budget King by the Ozark Trail Wug Out, Dropout, whatever you want to call it. This thing is in D2. I think polypropylene handles, full steel liners, the axis lock, which is great, thumb studs, and this version is the V1. It only had a single position pocket clip. The V2 has a reversible pocket clip. This thing is a steal. If you can find them in stock, it is definitely worth grabbing and looking into it. The only downside is these are known for quality control issues, mainly that of warping in the blade. As you can see, mine is not straight all the way down. It is slightly warped over to this side. Still a great knife though. Excellent edge retention for the price. Well worth the money. Look into it if you can. Now, for the $20 to $30 range, we have an honorary mention, which is the Kershaw Brandywine. The Kershaw Brandywine is a traditional pocket knife with 3 blades made of D2. It is a semi-stainless blade. A lot of these knives will have D2. The model number is 4382RB. This is the red bone, is what RB stands for. My only real gripe about this knife is the nail neck on this second blade here is on this side instead of this side, which makes it a little hard to get to. And it also scrapes this side of the blade up against over here. Now, we're going to go on to the one that won this award right here. And the award goes to the Civivi Zizzle. And I tried making this video a couple times before, and every single time I kept thinking this thing was like 37 bucks. These were like $25 at Walmart. It's a ridiculously good deal. D2 blade steel, it's a flipper on ball bearings, G10 scales. I mean, this thing's just a steal. With that Civivi quality build, what a deal. $25 at Walmart. It comes with, what was it? A lanyard and a multi-tool. The lanyard's a little bit big for me. It's about the size of the handle, really. It is a big lanyard. And the multi-tool I didn't find much use for. But let's be honest here, you're really here for a knife, not a lanyard, and you get what I'm going at. Now, next up is Knife of the Year for under $50. The QSP Penguin in D2 and carbon fiber. This thing is a ridiculously good deal. Sitting at, what is it? A 3-inch blade with little under 3 inches of usable blade length. Nice and smooth, great utilitarian blade shape. I love this thing. And I had a problem with this is when I bought it, I stuck it in my pocket for a week, and then I accidentally left it in my pocket for the next week because I forgot that I had to swap it out. And then I stuck it in my pocket for another week anyway. So 3 weeks of carrying this thing, I loved every minute of it. Never ever got in the way or anything. It's square looking, but the edges are chamfered enough to where it's comfortable. I just love this knife. Highly recommend it. $38 on Blade HQ. Ridiculously good deal. Go check them out. Now, next up is the knife of the year for between $50 and $100. That is going to the Bestech Goodboy. This right here, it is a big knife. 3.5, 3.5 inches of blade length, usable blade length, mind you. Button lock, G10 scales, nested liners, skeletonized liners, barrel spacers, reversible pocket clip, not much more you can really need. D2 steel, again, great edge retention, never had any problems with this thing. Now, the reason why this thing is such a good deal is because on Blade HQ, they have versions of it with DLC coating. So you can get D2 DLC coating for $53. That is an absolute steal for that kind of technology. Definitely blows everything else out of the water. Highly recommend looking into this thing as well. They are, again, $53, just slightly over the $50 budget range. Well worth the money. I've never had the lock fail on this thing either. And trust me, I did test it. And I tested it on stream as well. Go look into this thing. Crowned spine. Nice jimping that isn't too rough, but really does catch your thumb. This thing's just great. Again, the Bestech Goodboy. Go look into it. Alright, next up, we have the $100 to $200 range. This is the Gerber Sedulo. I would have picked a Benchmade Griptilian over this, but I don't have one of those. So this is what's going on the channel instead. S30V, $130, I think. I mean, it's a decent knife. It takes some getting used to. These scales I would much prefer over the Griptilian scales. They just look so much cooler. And they're actually more comfortable and a little bit more functional as well. They catch your skin quite nicely so that it's harder to drop it. The jimping back here kind of gets in the way. It's a little uncomfortable over multiple hours of use. But overall, it is a quite streamlined design. Definitely recommend looking into it, but I would probably go for a Benchmade Griptilian instead. Specifically the one with the thumb hole, because that's the design that I like the most. This thing is smooth, but you pull that back and it doesn't drop the way that you want it to. It leaves a lot to be desired for the price point. But it's not a bad knife. Okay, next up we have the $200+ range. Now, I don't believe that this thing came out this year, but this is the Tactile Bexar in titanium and MagnaCut. This thing, it's just such a great knife. And I know it's small. What is it, a 3-inch blade? Yeah, 3-inch blade, MagnaCut steel, titanium scales. It's such a good deal, honestly. I love this thing. And I carried this thing more than any other knife this year, because I had it in a little pocket sheath sitting on my waistline for like 3 months. And this was my showing off knife. This is what I carried when I wanted to carry something expensive but didn't mind beating on it a little bit. This thing is just perfect. I mean, stonewash finish with the satin grind on the flats. Deep, deep engraving. I mean, you can really feel how deep that is. Catches your fingernail. Honestly, just awesome. Can't wait for next year. I can't wait to carry this thing again. Now, unfortunately, I've started carrying only one knife lately, and I swap it out every week. And this week was the Bestech Goodboy. We will be doing a video on that one sometime in the future because I have other things planned out instead. But I do want to say before the end of the year that this was one of the best knives of the year. By far. Now, the most innovative design, and I'd have to take it apart to show you guys, which I will do, is the Jin Rhino. Now, the reason why this thing's the most innovative design on the channel is it's a button lock, which doesn't really surprise anybody. The reason why it's innovative is how they pulled that off. Now, we're going to go ahead and take this apart, and I'm just going to show you the one spot on this thing that the whole reason why it's different from any other button locks that I've seen. That doesn't mean that it hasn't happened before. It just means that I haven't seen it yet. And I'll be right back. Yeah, so I stripped that T6 bit like last week and just completely forgot to replace it. So, shout out to Jin for sending these out with every knife. Okay, now you don't want this thing to come apart too fast because there is a spring in here. Okay, there we go. So, now you may be seeing what I'm talking about. This right here, this little spot right here completely stops the blade from closing when the lock is in place. Like, it won't let it at all. That is a huge benefit in safety, and that caught me off guard. But as soon as I saw a picture of this, the parts of this thing on their Instagram page, I had to have it. So huge shout out to them for sending it to me. This is just such a large innovation right here. This little tab right here. Absolutely insane that nobody's thought of it yet. And if they have, I'm sorry that I haven't found it yet, but yeah, it's absolutely awesome. Now, stop pin. We'll go ahead and put this thing together, but this is kind of the end of the video right here. So I appreciate you guys watching and sticking around to this point. Hopefully you had a great Christmas. I know I did. And yeah, if you want to stick around for the last little bit, feel free. If not, we'll see you in the next one, and have a great rest of your day. And that is the only downside of this knife, is that spring. It is magnetized. There we go. and centered as always. Beautiful. I love playing with this thing. This is fidget knife of the year as well, easily. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one.